In this lecture, we're going to dive deep into library websites and web services, not just as technical tools, but as living, evolving platforms that connect communities to knowledge. By the end, you should be able to do several things. You'll be able to list and describe the core services a library website should offer. You'll also understand mashups. These are creative combinations of data and services that bring more value to a library's site. We'll look at modern tools, everything from content management systems to analytics dashboards, and discuss how libraries use them. We'll also compare hosting strategies, weighing the pros and cons of keeping servers in-house versus outsourcing to cloud services. Then we'll focus on user experience, or UX, which is where technology meets human needs. And importantly, we'll look at real-world examples of libraries that are doing this well, to see what we can learn. Finally, you'll think ahead. If you had the responsibility to redesign a library website, what feature would you prioritize, and why? These objectives aren't just academic. They are grounded in the real, practical challenges libraries face today. Let's begin with the basics. A library website must act as a gateway to electronic resources. Think about the variety of materials libraries subscribe to: databases, indexes, subject-specific collections. Without an organized gateway, these remain hidden treasures. Discovery layers, like Primo or EBSCO Discovery Service, make this much easier by allowing a single search across multiple databases. The second core feature is catalog interaction. Patrons today expect self-service. They want to log in, see their current checkouts, renew items, place holds, or request interlibrary loans. And increasingly, libraries are adding personalization, recommendations based on past borrowing or dashboards that let users track what they've read. Third, we have remote access. For many patrons, especially students and professionals, the library is not a place they physically visit every day. Remote authentication tools, proxy servers, VPNs, or single sign-on systems ensure they can access resources from anywhere. Fourth, there's guides and tutorials. Think of a first-year student who's never used JSTOR or PubMed before. A quick video tutorial or step-by-step guide can make the difference between frustration and success. Some libraries embed these guides directly into course management systems like Canvas, so students see them right when they need them. Finally, virtual reference. Traditionally, reference meant walking up to a desk. Today, it could be an email, a live chat, a text message, or even an AI chatbot that answers basic questions 24/7. Some libraries even schedule Zoom reference appointments for in-depth support. So here's a question for you to think about. When you last used a library website, which of these features did you rely on most, and which was missing or underdeveloped? Beyond the essentials, modern library websites are adding layers of value. Digital collections are huge. Platforms like Overdrive, Hoopla, and Canopy allow patrons to check out ebooks, audiobooks, and even stream films. During the pandemic, these became lifelines. A good library website makes this process seamless. No confusing redirects, no extra steps. Then there are events and programming. A website isn't just about books, it's a community hub. Calendars with registration tools let people sign up for lectures, story times, or makerspace workshops. Increasingly, libraries also let patrons reserve physical resources, a study room, a 3D printer, even recording studios. Community engagement is another dimension. Many libraries run blogs to share updates, embed live social media feeds, or run surveys to collect patron feedback. Some even allow collaborative reading lists where patrons can contribute. This turns the website into a two-way street rather than a one-way broadcast. Accessibility is non-negotiable. A library website should comply with WCAG standards, support screen readers, offer high contrast options, and ideally provide multilingual navigation. Imagine a Spanish-speaking parent visiting a public library site for the first time. Language support can make the difference between access and exclusion. And finally, UX innovation. This is where technology adds finesse. Responsive design ensures the site works on phones, tablets, and desktops. Predictive search helps patrons find what they need quickly. Mobile apps push reminders, your book is due tomorrow, or a new program has been added to the calendar. Now let's talk about mashups. A mashup is essentially a creative combination of two or more data sources to produce something new. A classic example is Library Thing. It blends user reviews, tags, and book covers with metadata from Amazon and the Library of Congress. Some libraries pull this into their catalogs, so when you look up a book, you also see reader-generated content. Another is the Google Custom Search Engine. Instead of sending patrons to the wide-open web, libraries can build a curated search that only looks at trusted sites, maybe academic repositories, government data portals, or their own digital archives. APIs also play a role. Many vendors provide APIs that libraries can use to integrate external services directly into their catalogs. For example, pulling in citation data from Crossref or linking to author ORCID profiles. And finally, simple automation tools like IFTTT, if this then that. Libraries use it to automate small but useful tasks, like posting new acquisitions to social media. Today, mashups are much more powerful. We see discovery layer integrations where a single search box pulls results from the catalog, e-resources, and open access repositories all at once. Libraries use data visualization dashboards to track usage and communicate value to stakeholders. Imagine showing city officials a dashboard of digital resource checkouts by neighborhood. That's powerful advocacy. Map-based mashups bring archives to life. A local history collection, for example, could be layered onto Google Maps so patrons can explore photographs, documents, and oral histories tied to specific streets. AI-driven mashups are the latest frontier. Recommendation engines, natural language search, even voice assistants integrated into catalogs. And of course, libraries embed social media feeds right on their sites to keep the homepage fresh and connected to community conversations. Finally, OER integration. Linking open educational resources directly into catalogs and LMS platforms supports teaching and learning without the cost barrier. So here's a question. If you were building a mashup for your own library, would you focus on enhancing discovery, improving community engagement, or supporting research? Why? Let's shift to the toolkit behind all this. For web design software, traditional tools like Dreamweaver or Everweb are still around, but many libraries choose easier platforms like Wix, Weebly, or Google Sites, especially if staff don't have coding expertise. For content management systems, WordPress and Drupal are the most common. They offer flexibility and a wide range of plugins. But libraries also rely on specialized systems like LibGuides for research guides, or enterprise platforms like Cascade or SharePoint that ensure consistency across large institutions. Image and media editing is critical. Libraries now use Canva and Figma for quick collaborative designs, while Photoshop and Pixlr remain standards for more advanced editing. Video tools like Camtasia, Adobe Rush, or CapCut allow libraries to produce tutorials or promotional videos. On the technical side, developers use text editors like Notepad++ or modern IDEs like VS Code. GitHub and GitLab are used for collaborative coding and version control. Accessibility testing is a must. Tools like Wave and Axe Dev Tools scan for barriers that might exclude users with disabilities. And then there's analytics. Google Analytics 4, Matomo, or GTmetrix give libraries real-time insights into how patrons use their sites. Are people finding what they need? Which pages are most popular? Where are they dropping off? Now, let's talk about something many people overlook: hosting. When we say a website is hosted, what we really mean is, where does the website live? Every website, whether it's Amazon, Wikipedia, or your local library site, has to be stored somewhere on a computer that's connected to the internet. That computer is called a server. Hosting, then, is simply the service of storing your website's files, the code, the images, the videos, the catalogs, on a server and making them accessible to the public through a web address. Without hosting, your website doesn't exist on the web. You might design it beautifully on your own computer, but unless it's hosted, no one outside your office can see it. So, hosting is the bridge between the design of the site and its availability to patrons. For libraries, hosting decisions are especially important because we're not just hosting static pages. We're connecting catalogs, databases, authentication systems, event calendars, and digital collections. That means hosting isn't just about storage. It's about speed, reliability, and security. Now, libraries have a few options. In-house hosting. This means the library or its parent institution, like a university, runs the servers themselves. The benefit is full control. You decide how the server is configured, you can customize deeply, and you control security. The drawback is that you need trained IT staff. You need to keep up with patches and backups. And if the server fails, your site goes down. Free bundled hosting. Platforms like WordPress.com, Wix, or Weebly give you hosting automatically when you build a site with them. This is attractive for small libraries with limited budgets, but it often limits customization and may not integrate well with complex library systems. Fee-based hosting. Services like Squarespace, Bluehost, or SiteGround provide robust hosting at a cost. They manage the infrastructure so you don't have to worry about uptime or server security. This is often a good middle ground for public libraries. Enterprise or institutional CMS hosting. Large universities and public systems often use enterprise platforms like SharePoint or Cascade. Here, the website is hosted on servers managed at the organizational level, ensuring consistent branding and centralized support. Beyond these categories, we also need to think about modern hosting requirements. For instance, cloud scalability means your site can handle sudden traffic spikes, like when thousands of students log in during finals week. Security features like SSL certificates encrypt user data, which is especially important when patrons are logging in with library cards or university credentials. And privacy compliance, things like GDPR in Europe or state-level data protection laws in the US, require hosting providers to handle data responsibly. So, to put it simply, hosting is where your website lives, and the hosting choice directly affects how reliable, secure, and accessible your site is to your community. Now that we know where the library website lives through hosting, let's turn to how people actually use it. This is where UX, usability, and UI design come in. Think of it this way: hosting ensures your website exists, but UX ensures your website makes sense to the people who visit it. You can have the most powerful server in the world, but if the site is confusing, cluttered, or inaccessible, patrons won't use it. So let's unpack these terms. User experience, UX, is the overall feeling a person has when interacting with the site. Is it easy? Is it enjoyable? Is it frustrating? UX is about the journey, from the moment a user lands on the homepage to the moment they check out a digital book or sign up for a program. Usability is more specific. It's about whether users can accomplish what they came to do without unnecessary obstacles. Can they find the catalog search quickly? Do they understand how to log in? Is the navigation logical? Usability is like asking, does this site work as expected? User interface, UI design, is the look and layout of the site. It's the menus, the buttons, the color schemes, the typography, the icons. A well-designed UI supports usability and makes the experience smoother. For example, a big, clear Search the Catalog button is a UI choice that directly supports usability. Now, what does this mean in practice for libraries? First, simplicity. Libraries have a tendency to put everything on the homepage: databases, announcements, forms, policies, events, blog posts, and more. But too much information overwhelms users. A clean, simple design respects their time and attention. Second, user-centered design. This means involving patrons in the process. Don't assume staff knowledge equals user knowledge. Conduct usability testing, even with just 5 patrons, to see where people get stuck. Jacob Nielsen famously said 5 users can uncover the majority of usability problems. Third, consistency. If the search bar is at the top of one page, it should be in the same place everywhere else. If you call it databases in one menu, don't call it online resources somewhere else. Consistency reduces cognitive load. Fourth, accessibility and inclusivity. Following WCAG standards is essential. Think of users who are blind and rely on screen readers, users with low vision who need high contrast, or multilingual patrons who need navigation in their own language. A library website must be welcoming to all. Fifth, responsive design. More than half of web traffic worldwide is mobile. If a patron opens your site on their phone and the text is tiny or menus don't work, they'll leave. Responsive design means the website automatically adjusts to fit the screen size, whether it's a laptop, tablet, or phone. Finally, let's talk about modern UX enhancements. Many libraries are experimenting with AI personalization, offering book or article suggestions based on past searches. Micro interactions. Those small design touches, like a button changing color when you hover, provide feedback and make the site feel alive. Analytics are also essential. By tracking how users move through the site, libraries can see what's working and what isn't. And of course, performance matters. A page that takes 10 seconds to load is a page most users won't wait for. So here's something to reflect on. When you last visited a website, library or otherwise, what frustrated you the most? Was it that you couldn't find what you needed? That the menus were confusing? That the page didn't work well on your phone? Those frustrations are exactly what UX, usability, and UI design are meant to solve. And as future information professionals, thinking about the human experience is just as important as thinking about the technology behind it. The Chicago Public Library website is a comprehensive and user-friendly platform that brings together collections, services, and community programs in one place. Built on the Bibliocommons system, it offers patrons a robust catalog with features like borrowing history, personalized lists, and easy account management. The site emphasizes digital access with clear sections for ebooks, audiobooks, streaming movies, TV, and music, alongside a wide range of online databases. Community engagement is highlighted through an active events calendar, including programs for children, teens, and adults, as well as citywide initiatives like One Book, One Chicago. Accessibility and inclusivity are evident through multilingual support, Spanish, Polish, Chinese, and more, and an accessibility statement. The design is clean and intuitive, with a prominent search bar, straightforward navigation menus, and curated content such as staff picks and popular titles that encourage discovery. Overall, the CPL website reflects many of the best practices we've discussed. It is inclusive, well organized, and designed to meet the diverse needs of a large urban community. The Reedy Library website serves as a strong example of a school library site designed with students and teachers in mind. Built on WordPress, it emphasizes digital access with sections for ebooks, audiobooks, and resources like MackinVia, while also supporting curriculum needs through tailored research guides and project-based content such as AP history or science assignments. The homepage highlights library events, reading challenges, and announcements, keeping the site dynamic and connected to school activities. Navigation is straightforward, with clear menus for finding books, test prep, and digital resources, reflecting good usability and audience awareness. The design relies on categories, tags, and visuals that make content easy to browse, and features like email subscriptions and social media links support engagement. While it doesn't provide advanced personalization or live virtual reference tools like larger public or academic libraries, Reedy Library demonstrates how a smaller school library can apply modern web practices to deliver accessible, curriculum-focused, and student-friendly services. The Oak Park Public Library website is a strong example of a modern public library site that brings together collections, services, and community engagement. It acts as a gateway to digital platforms like Overdrive, Hoopla, and Canopy, while also supporting catalog search, account management, and title recommendations. The site emphasizes community programming through an events calendar and integrates with the SWAN Libraries Consortium, allowing patrons to access a wider pool of resources. A good example of mashups in action. Although the backend isn't visible, it likely relies on a mix of shared and cloud hosting, ensuring stability and connectivity across systems. Its UX and UI design are clean and consistent, with logical menus, mobile responsiveness, a translate website tool, and an accessibility page, reflecting best practices in inclusivity and usability. Overall, OPPL demonstrates how a library website can serve as a dynamic service platform rather than just a static information page.